This video was inspired by two of my favorite funny YouTubers, Unstoppable Morgan and Nikki
Guys, I'm being
Delvenport.
eaten alive here. Whew. Hey, Morgan, we gotta do something about this.
There's so many of them.
I'm so uncomfortable.
There's
So I taped some packing paper from my Amazon purchases, with temporary blue tape all around the frame of the window. I'm not so concerned about the bottom because I can make it as long or as short as I want, considering it has to cover the whole window. And then I made a template. I cut around it, make sure that I just made a pencil mark around the frame and then around the side view mirror. Make sure that it cut it on the side and make a cut around the frame or the holder of the rear view mirror. And I'll show you later what I did with that so that it'll fit and it'll fit on there tightly. You must be wondering why I bought the Noseeum fabric as opposed to just buying a screen cover from Amazon. Well, the reason is because if the insects can still get through the regular screening, which Noseeums can, why not just go all the way and go for the gusto and buy something that Noseeums cannot even penetrate through? So this is why I did it, because why spend the money and then find out later that it's not going to protect me inside the van from Noseeums when I go to Florida, whenever that is. So I just opted to do it, to make it myself, so that I can just go and have no worries about any bugs coming in to my van. So let's get started here. After I made the pattern for the cover, I made sure that I was going to put like at least an inch of allowance around it, even around the circle, the hole inside it that will fit around the side view mirror, and make sure that I have enough allowance so that I can do what I need to do and make sure that it fits around it loosely, not too loose, but loose enough so that it will be able to fit around the actual door. And then I am going to cut my fabric now, and hopefully this is going to be very, very successful and very, because it's very essential to my trip, and I don't have to worry about it in the future because it's already done. I am pretty sure that if a Noseeum cannot get through this mesh, then no other bugs can get through it because they're pretty much invisible. So now I'm cutting it. I doubled up on I just folded it in half and make sure that I had enough to cut 1 inch allowance all the way around. And if you see here on the bottom, I also put an inch allowance there so that I can finish it off later with my edges, my finished edges, and then it'll drape a little bit past the bottom of the window so that no bugs will get through it. Step was to pin them together and then make sure that I put the lines where I'm going to stitch, so that just to cut out avoid all the, guesswork for this. And that's what I did so that I can just easily run the sewing machine through, making sure that I still have that pencil mark for the outside. Okay, the outside, make sure that you, when you turn it over, that one goes on the left side of the window and then another set goes on the outside of the right side of the window. Make sure you keep that in mind because it's easy to forget when you're in the middle of trying to figure this thing out. But that's why I'm telling you right now, so that when you do it, if you do it, you can make a note of it just so that you don't get confused later on. And again, I repeat, the outside of the window, the outside part of this cover will be cut along this P sort of shape that I have here. And then it's going to be, make sure that you turn it over, and probably be a good idea to fit it in so that you can see what I'm talking about. One is on the left side and the other one is on the right side. And even though I stitched from the outside part of the line, it doesn't matter because once I turn this over, I'm going to do edging around it so that it will prevent it from fraying because of the flimsiness of the fabric. Sometimes it'll tear. So in order to avoid that later on while I'm pulling and putting back on, the wear and tear of it won't happen because of the edging that I'm going to put on this later on. So this is what I'm talking about, the edging. I just took some fabric that I had laying around. You want to make it a little bit aesthetic looking, so just make sure that the fabric that you have enough fabric to make something that's more uniform. So I just attached this together. I made like an 1.5 inches of a strip of fabric sewn together, and then I will sew that on top of the edges of my covers. And then I will fold it later on. It's really easier than it looks because as soon as you figure this thing out, it'll be so easy. After I sewn the strip, I turned it over and then stitched it again just to close it. And I also made some for the inside part where it's going to go around the side view, the side view mirror. And also I made a tab for it because of course when you first cut it, you're not going to have enough fabric to go and snap it together. So I did a tab, and then I also sewed piece of Velcro so that I can snap it together and to make an enclosure so that it'll be fitting tight around the window. So I'm going to try it out right now and see if it's going to work.